Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
What's going on, everybody? How the heck are you? This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation, coming at you once again, live from the Asian Sensation Studios in the greater Washington DC Metropolitan Area. And I'm actually doing it up, cooking up another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And, to be in the Asian Sensation Studio, to be here in the booth, and to really go ahead and make a recording of another episode is amazing. There's no better feeling of exercising my creativity and just to do what I do, especially in this creative medium, than just to go ahead and create another great episode that makes this podcast an amazing one. So I'm very excited, very happy. It is just great to be here, and I'm sitting down in the chair. I got the mic in hand, and we're doing it. We're really doing it. Hector was actually here earlier. He was actually assisting me because we actually did a live version of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and we were actually recording it live on TikTok, and people were streaming it live. I thought that went really well in a lot of areas. There was one minor technical difficulty that unfortunately it just didn't work out. It failed in that respect. So although I'll be very honest with you, when it came to trying to get that mission done and that mission accomplished, it was a total failure. It wasn't even close. The good side of it, though, however, was we did record and we did well. And it was amazing. And I just hope that, we just keep that momentum going. Will I continue to do more recordings and to do TikTok live versions of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience? I think so, because I think that's just giving me an opportunity to stream live for in about an hour and just to do my thing. Maybe a little bit more. I think it might be a little bit more than an hour, but that's okay. I think the more times that I stream on TikTok and to get content out there, I think I have a stronger following, and that to me means a lot. And I feel like as long as if I just do what I do, as a creative person, trying to get my creative content out there for the world to see and for the world to hear and to spread, more of the notoriety and the brand that is the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, I'm going to keep doing it. I really will. And that includes you guys, as long as you guys keep on, commercializing and endorsing me and telling your friends and, putting it out there for social media for all your friends to know in that respect. We're going to keep on climbing, and we're going to keep creating that notoriety. We're going to keep on building the brand. And, the more people that know about it, the better. It's going to be great. It's what they call in the business that it is brand awareness. And I love it. And I think it's amazing. And I think it's wonderful. So, yeah, we got a great episode going for you today. Lots to talk about, lots to cover. And, I'm just hoping for the best because as a person of creativity and a person that has a creative content and a creative medium, I love doing this, and I never want to fail. I always want to do the very best that I can and how I can. If I somehow fail, then I feel like, wow, I let everybody down because I have a high level of, I just put myself on a high level, on a high pedestal. I really have to set the bar high, because, I believe in myself and I want to see that kind of success. If I fail at it, if I feel like it's less than 100%, then I truly feel at that point like, wow, I let myself down, I let my team down, I let the crowd down. I let all the people that are following the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, all the subscribers, I let them down. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep climbing, I want to keep succeeding, I want to keep building, and I want to keep going to the top and keep on climbing higher and higher and higher until I can't anymore. That's the bottom line. That's just what I do. But I'm not mad about it. We're here. Let's go ahead and get to the episode because there is a lot that I have to talk about. One of those things that I have to talk about was something that happened recently with a good friend of mine. She's a fellow actor. So she is from the Washington DC area as well. So she's a great actress. She's very talented. We both actually met up recently at the local Starbucks, preferably at the one that is actually near my way. And I love going over to that location because from the neighborhood of where I live, it is actually a short walk. So I love walking over to Starbucks, especially like, let's say, on a spring or summer day where it's warm and it's beautiful. And yeah, I just walk there, man, and I just go ahead and get my cup of coffee. Well, her and I, we shared a cup of coffee. She bought me one and she got herself one, and we were talking. We were really talking, and we had a long conversation. Now, mind you, she is a very good friend of mine, so I really appreciate her as a person, and I respect her a lot as a talented actress in the industry. But we were talking. Now, I want to preface before I go any further that she said that she did not want me to actually give out her name and her identity. It was okay for me to go ahead and talk about the situation, and especially in this forum, and I do appreciate that. But she said, Kim, please do not put out my government name out there. And as a person of of honor and my word, my 3rd degree black belt honor, I said, yes, I will talk about the situation. I will not mention your name. So, for all intents and purposes, we're going to name her Penny. I will not put your name out there like that. So I appreciate it. Well, I was talking to Penny earlier, in the week, and she's like I said, a great actress, and she's got great ability, man. She's really good. And we were talking, and she was like, Kim, I've really been thinking about making that move because as you know, being in the Washington DC Metropolitan Area, it's great. It's great to live here. But if I can be honest with you, and I can be real, this is not the place where I need to be if I really need to build my my acting career and my opportunity. And I agreed with her because, it's great to live in the DMV, no doubt. But honestly, unless you're going to get into the world of politics, there's really nothing here for acting. And she said that she wanted to go ahead and she wanted to move over to where the Mecca is, Los Angeles, California, which is not far from Hollywood. But she was saying that, something was holding her back. She was saying something to the effect of, she still has family here. She's got to take care of some family here. This is where her job is and her, career path is right now, which is not acting, but, an adult job. And yeah, I told her, I definitely get it. I understand because right now you have a situation where you do have a good paying job and it is paying the bills and it is amazing. You do have a lot of friends here. But also, most importantly, you do have a lot of family here. And sometimes right now, in this situation at least, you are stuck between the proverbial rock and hard place because you have family that you need to take care of because, they're a little bit older in the age bracket and they are not in a position where they can really take care of themselves that well enough. If they were a little bit more physically able, then that's definitely a different story. But being where they are, it's a little bit impossible. But this is what I told her, and I said this. Look, Penny, I love you. You're a great person and a great friend, and you're a hell of a talent in the DMV for being an actress. And we've seen it, and it's great. But I got to tell you something, and I'm only telling you this because, I'm just being honest with you. Now, mind you, it is just an opinion, so you can take it for what it's worth. I mean, you can either, listen to it and take influence from it, and that's great. Or you can kind of forget everything and not agree with it, and that's also fine because, in the terms of today's society, I'm going to say that you're a grown-ass adult. You're a grown-ass adult, and you can do whatever you want. You're a grown-ass woman, and whatever you say, I get it. But my opinion is this. If that is truly something that you love to do, and if that's something that you really want to go for, and you live, and you breathe, and you eat, and you sleep acting, and every time that you wake up and you think about it, and it still comes back to yes, and yes, and yes, then maybe that's your sign. Maybe that is your sign to go ahead and do it because this is what you want to do. This is your aspirations and your dreams and your hopes. And this is something that you want to do. This is something for you. And if this is something that you want to do and you really gave it some thought, why not? Why not make that jump? Why not take that leap of faith and go to Hollywood, California, or the Los Angeles area and make something of your career in the world of acting? Because number one, we all know, and for us that do know you, Penny, you are a talented actress, and you really have the goods, and it's definitely amazing. And you would be, I don't want to say stupid, but you would just not be the person that you are unless you actually took that leap of faith. I mean, it's different if you actually saw that there was an opportunity and you never took it. That's one thing. But the fact that the opportunity possibly could be there, and that you do have enough talent, I don't see what the problem is. I think you should go for it. Now, there are some things I will say that hold people back, and it's valid. It is valid. Like I said, people have reservations and fears and so forth. You have a career that's really paying off well, and you're afraid of leaving it because there may not be, a same thing like that in a place where you want to move outside of where you live, like in Los Angeles. There may not be the same kind of company that has that sort of thing, and you can transfer over. You're basically entering the world of the unknown because it's a brand new beginning and a brand new start. You're entering a place that nobody. There's no friends, there's no family. It's just you. Nobody knows you. You know what I mean? Some people are afraid to leave their family and their friends because that's all that they ever known. It's their safety blanket. And like I said about Penny, having parents that are physically unable to take care of themselves, and you are the person that bears, that, I don't want to say the burden, but bears that mission of taking care of them because, you have a responsibility to your parents like they had a responsibility to you. I do get that. There are some things, and those are valid. But I say it like this. If you have an opportunity, why not take it? Why not take that leap of faith? I'd rather be a person that tried their very best and to do it and fail rather than to be that person that didn't do it and never even tried it and never knew if they had the potential, if they had that moment in themselves to do it. It's not really easy. It's not. But if it's something that's inside of you that, again, that's your passion, that's what you love, and you really want to do it, and if all the signs point to yes, I don't see how or why you would fight it. I really don't. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things here and there, for sure, but why fight that feeling if the feeling all points to yes? You know what I mean? Now, I can give you a little bit of an opinion, if it came to me. Like, say, for example, for some weird reason, I'm just kind of hanging out and having a good time, and I get a phone call, and that came from 20th Century Fox. Now, 20th Century Fox is a big production company that does a lot of, major motion picture films and TV shows. So let's say, for example, that, I get a phone call from them, and they say, "Hey, Kim, what's going on, man? This is 20th Century Fox. We want you to be in the next action movie with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We'll go ahead and pay for your ticket to fly up to Hollywood, California. We already have a place for you to stay. We'll pay for your accommodations and your meals, all the transportation needs that you have to have, whether if it's traveling to the set and back and wherever you need to go in between. We already provided that for you. We just want to know if you're in or out. We want you to be with us for the next 6 months to 9 months. But we really want you to make a decision. And if you say yes, we'll fly you out tonight." Now, I got to tell you something. That would already put me in a position where I would heavily think about it, even though that I have a day job. But say, for example, what if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson called me 5 minutes later and it's like, "Hey, Kim, what's going on there, buddy? It's Dwayne Johnson. How you doing? I don't know if 20th Century Fox have called you, but I want you to be on the next action film project with me. A major motion picture film project. It's going to be a lot of action. I'm going to be on it. It's going to be taking place in Los Angeles, and I want you to be filming with me for the next 6 to 9 months. I don't know if they told you, but you're going to be taken care of. We'll take care of your airfare. We'll take care of your accommodations. All the meals. We're going to take care of you. And wherever you need to go in between that, we will arrange the transportation to take you where you need to go. We just need to know right now because I want to start filming as soon as possible. And you know what? I can't think of another better deserving person than you to go ahead and help me out with this major motion picture project. Are you in?" And at that point, I'm just going to say this. If that was to happen, if that really was going to happen, and knowing that I have a day job, and I know, and I don't want to say anything bad about my day job because I love my day job and they've been amazing and they took care of me for the past 4 years. But I'm telling you right now, if that opportunity came, and I know it's just, pretend, you know what I mean? Because this situation is not really happening. But if this was really happening, I have no problems at all. Like at this moment, if that phone call just ended with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I would pick up the phone right now. I would call the CEO of the company that I work for, the person below him, and talk to my store manager and say, "Guys, thank you very much for the opportunity that you've given me for the past 4 years. I appreciate it, but I'm going to give you my immediate resignation because I have a great opportunity that I'm not going to get into, and I can't pass it up. I have to actually pack up my stuff and leave the first thing in the morning. I'm really sorry that, it had to be this way and I had to end it so abruptly. But, if the writing's on the wall and the opportunity is there and it's slapping me in the face and it's something that I want to do, I have to do it. I have to do it. I would be a fool not to jump on this opportunity. I mean, and I know people might say that that's a little bit brash or cold-hearted or sudden, but you know what? It's my life. If I was given an opportunity, who wouldn't want to go ahead and work with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? The highest grossing action movie star right now in our generation. I mean, that guy is worth billions already. And most of that comes from his acting. The other part comes from professional wrestling, being in the WWE. But man, to work with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and to actually work in something of the field that I'm very passionate about, yeah, I definitely would do it. Obviously, what I think and how other people think when it comes to chasing the dream and how far they would go, it's different. It is a challenge. Some people, they may need to think about it because once again, there are some situations and instances and some variables that may prevent them from actually making that leap of faith, while other people, are willing to take that leap of faith almost instantly without thought. So I understand that. I get it. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But I will say, for the record, if the opportunity is there, guys, and you really want to go for it, say, example, like right now, if you're an up-and-coming actor and you want to take that opportunity and you want to, go to the higher echelon of where acting is supreme in LA and you think you have what it takes, I would say go for it. I really do. I'd rather go for it knowing that I tried and I failed and I regret nothing, as opposed to messing up and or never even trying at all. That's just the way that I see it. That's how my logic is working. So guys, what we're going to do right now is that we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go into the next segment, something that I'm very passionate about. I'm not going to give it away, but just know that it's definitely going to be a heavy situation, and I'm looking forward to it. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be back. The Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is just heating up and still cooking. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see you in a bit. When people ask me what's the best tool that you have for podcasting, I tell them Spotify for podcasters. Yes, you heard right. Spotify has now created an avenue for podcasters to do their thing. So whether if you need to upload your already made episode or need to create one using their platform on their website or their app, they got you. Also, now you can upload and or create video podcasts episodes with Spotify for podcasters. How cool is that? And the best part is, this service is absolutely 100% free. That's right. No need to give them any credit card information. Therefore, you don't have to pay any costs or monthly fees. How awesome is that? So, for more information, go to podcasters.spotify.com or go ahead and download the app on your smartphone or smart tablet device for free by either going to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Spotify for podcasters.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. We're still here in the Asian Sensation Studios. We're still in the booth. We're still doing it up, and I'm happy. I'm happy. I will say that break that we had, that was great, and I just definitely needed it to have some hot tea and some stuff to munch on. That was good. It was really relaxing, and I liked it. Took a chance to actually look over the script a little bit and review, and we're good. We're back in here, and we had a great first segment. I was really happy about it, but now, we're in the booth once again. We're going to go segue into the new segment, and this one actually hits a little bit more closer to home because, it has to do a little bit in the world of martial arts. And of course, as a martial artist, I am a person that is very, very passionate about it because I've dedicated my life to it for many years. And being a practitioner of the martial arts and being a third-degree black belt in the art of Muay style of Taekwondo, it's just a great feeling and a no better high. But excuse me, I do have to talk about this one because this is something that I have been hearing about for quite a while as of late. And I've heard a little bit about this, stereotype and whatnot. And as a martial artist that has been training for many, many years, I think I really need to set the facts straight. Now, this might be a little bit unpopular and so forth. I'm just basically saying that it is my opinion and my opinion alone. Because once again, as somebody that is a black belt in a martial art that has studied for quite a while, I feel like that it gives me, some kind of validation, if you will. Like I have a validity of saying this because I've trained for quite a while. So it gives me the right, and I guess you could say, for the lack of a better term, it gives me a position to actually speak on this. So let me just go ahead and say it, spit it out. Let's go. Man, a little nervous about this one because, I know I'm not going to offend people, but I think a lot of people might be a little bit perturbed. But that's what we're here for. That's what we do. A lot of people lately that I've been reading about and so forth tells me, or at least I've heard through the grapevine, that when you study any martial art, you go through the ranks, right? You go from a white belt equivalency, which is a brand new beginner, all the way to a black belt equivalency. Now, whatever martial art that you study, if you actually train in karate or taekwondo or tong sudo, or if you train in ninjutsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu or, anything of that sort, kung fu, whatever, the expert level is black belt, or the black belt equivalency, right? Right. So, it has been said that once you actually reach the black belt rank, or the black belt rank equivalency, that's the end of the journey. And that's the end all be all. Like, that's it. You have nothing much more to learn about. You pretty much know anything and everything now. So, reaching the black belt is the high pinnacle, and that's it. That's the end of the journey. That is where the buck stops. That is where you approach the red light. It says stop. Do not proceed anymore. That's it. This is where the trip ends. This is where the journey ends. Well, I'm here to tell you this. That is partially true. That might be 15 to 20% true, I think. Again, my opinion. But let me just tell you guys a little bit about, where I'm coming from this. And please try to keep an open mind, and please try to, see it from a different perspective, which is the following. Yes, when you actually go through the rank and you hit that proverbial accelerator on the path of the martial arts, it's, a journey. You know what I mean? You start from white belt, or the beginning level, and you work your way through the ranks. Now, there's a difference between, being a black belt and a color belt. The color belt is just basically any rank that is not a black belt, like white, yellow, green, blue, brown, and then black. So when you actually train for many years and acquire the physical knowledge as well as the intellectual knowledge, and you get to a certain point where you have to test and display every bit of knowledge that you know, A through Z, white belt all the way over to brown belt, and you do it with succession, yes, you do earn that black belt or that black belt equivalency. Now, in that respect, yes, the journey ends because you ended the beginning journey of, being a martial artist, and now earning that equivalency of black belt or the actual black belt is kind of like you ended that journey of the beginning, of what you knew. You know what I mean? You end the journey of the basics, right? Right. because you've earned that. You worked through it, and it's really cool. It's a lot of hard work, but at that very point where you actually earn your black belt for that first time, or that first degree black belt, I hate to, burst people's bubble, but to be honest with you, from a professional martial arts standpoint, we all know that as soon as you earn that black belt, it is only the beginning. That's the beginning of the real training of the art. And with that being said, you now know that you are now in a new beginning of your training of the martial arts. Plus, with, higher power and higher knowledge comes even a greater responsibility, because now you are put in a situation where not only you have to be responsible to learn what you need to know in order to advance to the next rank, you now have a situation where you actually have to take care of the people that are below you, and make sure that they, which is the new generation of martial artists, get all the knowledge that they need to have in order to succeed in the next rank. Because, if you went through that before black belt, then they go through that same process too. You know what I mean? And it's like what they say, each one teach one. You know what I mean? If you do not teach what you learned, then you didn't learn anything. And it's a responsibility that, we have to uphold as black belts, to make sure that the next generation gets it, that they understand what they need to do, that, and the knowledge. And at the same time, we all have to make sure that we are responsible of knowing our material as well. Now, I can say this with full confidence. When I first tested for my first degree black belt and I passed, it was a really great feeling. I felt like I was on top of the world. And, because, when we look at it, from a color belt standpoint, we're thinking, man, the quest for the black belt, the black belt is amazing. This is kind of like the equivalency of wearing Superman's cape. You know what I mean? It's great because, when we wear Superman's cape, we think that we have like this superpower. We think that we're invincible, that we know everything. And it's great. It's like, once we wear it, we can't be stopped, and, we know everything. But, like I said before, it's just a brand new beginning. It's a brand new start. Same path, but now it's like a different road that you take in order to succeed and evolve to even a higher level with a bigger purpose. You know what I mean? And I remember my good friend, my best friend, Amos, he was there for my first degree black belt test, and he saw me get promoted. And I remember as soon as that test was done, that same night, we actually hung out. And he had a great conversation, and we really, took it deep. And, he told me, he's like, Kim, I got to tell you, man, I'm really proud of you. I know how long it took for you to, get the courage to come back, and learn everything again, and to really work hard and succeed. And the fact that you made it to first degree black belt, bro, I'm really proud of you. It takes a lot of courage. And you did it. You did it with, the highest integrity, with the knowledge, and with the determination to succeed. And you did that very, very well. I cannot be any more proud of you. But I got to tell you, man, going forward, and I know it's great, that you earned your first degree black belt. There is no doubt in my mind, it's definitely great, a great accomplishment. Not many make it. But, you have to know now that at this point, now you have a bigger responsibility. Now you got to go ahead and be responsible to maintain the current knowledge that you know, and to now learn more information that you must know in order to, get to the next level, to get to the higher rank. All of this by now knowing, on top of that, you have a higher responsibility to make sure that the next generation of martial artists knows what they're doing, and they need to get that information, and they can only get it from the black belt instructors. You are now an instructor, so you need to make sure that you can do it. And he looked at me, he grabbed me by the shoulders, and he punched me on the chest, and he said, I know you can do it. I know you can do it, and I know that you have the potential, because if you didn't have the potential, I would not take my time right now to talk to you in this way. And if my father, our instructor, didn't believe that you didn't have that potential, then there's no way in the world that you would be learning under him. So understand now, now you have a bigger role, a bigger responsibility. And I need you to promise me that you will keep that tradition going and you will keep it alive. And I told him, yo, I got you, man. I literally, shook his hand, and I gave him a dap, and I hugged him, and I said, I got you. I got you. I'm going to do you proud. I'm going to do your father proud, and I'm going to do the school proud, because I didn't get here by myself. And even to this day, with my current rank, I didn't get here by myself. I got a lot of help from a lot of people, and although that my friend Amos is no longer training, actively, he's still knowledgeable in that area because of the many, many years of, his knowledge base and what he knows. Matter of fact, on the off subject, he was one of our very first men's black belt grand champions in a very hard and prestigious Korean martial art tournament that happens every year in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And he actually defeated the grand champion of a rival school that we face all the time, that his father came out from that school. And to actually, break the Da Vinci Code and just beat their champion, 6 years not even training before that, and he finally came back out of retirement and he won it. And he won it against that champion, you know what I mean, in sudden death, and the next thing you know, we hear that, his father, my instructor, our instructor, said, Amos, go ahead and close the door and let's go home. And he sealed it. Boom. You know what I mean? And it's amazing, with the years of hard work. But that's for another time. That's for another story. Being someone of a person, of a martial artist that I am, in the rank that I hold, I do have to, have that responsibility. And I have to remind the next generation that, you're going through a voyage and you're going through that road, you know what I mean, where you have to go ahead and do your very best. Because, right now you're at the beginning point. When you get to the point where you actually test for that black belt, that first degree black belt, and then when you pass it, it's great, but only then at that point you have to realize it's only a brand new beginning. The journey doesn't end there, because now you have to learn more, and you have to learn more, and you have to learn more. I always say that when you're a color belt, that's kind of like, being in elementary school all the way to middle school. When you get to that first degree black belt and you pass, that's like saying that you entered high school. You know what I mean? When you get to second and third degree black belt, that's like you're entering college or a 4-year university or a junior college. And then when you get to fourth degree black belt, that's like, okay, now I'm going over for my master's program. And then when you get over to 7th degree black belt and above, that's when you graduate from your master's program. And you damn near can just do anything at that point. At least that's just my opinion of the matter. I I've really enjoyed my journey in the martial arts, and I know that being a black belt, even at this level, it's still another new beginning. I still have a long way to go. And I hope that other martial artists understand and realize that, once they get to that black belt in general, again, that's just a brand new beginning. The road and the journey of the martial arts is infinite. Now at a point where, we have to realize when you hit the black belt, we only mastered the basics. The true journey and the true training of the art starts now, and it starts at every new promotion of black belt, and I can't wait for it. I'm excited. Like I told Amos, and like I told a lot of people, I'm going to keep going in the martial arts no matter what. I'm going to keep training and do my thing until, I can't physically do it anymore. But as long as I'm still moving, and I'm still living, and I'm still breathing, and I'm moving around and doing things, I'm going to keep doing it because, it's in my blood. I never quit. Quitting is not the option, because when you quit, that's the end. And the only way I see it ending is that if I'm, literally in my resting place. So as long as I'm still alive and living and breathing and moving, yeah, I'm going to be still training, no matter what. I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm just going to do my best to do whatever I can, because, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And, I feel like there will always be new beginnings in the martial art. There's always new things that I can learn. There's always an opportunity, and I can always grow and make it better. And that's what I truly believe in. And for those people, I will say this: I've known a lot of people that trained under with me, and we were in the same position. There was 2 people that I know personally that should have tested with me the same time that I tested for first degree black belt. But for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but they stopped, and that was unfortunate. Do I think that they had the potential to actually reach black belt? I definitely do. But I know that anybody that does that, they're one step away from black belt and they don't test for it and then they stop, that's when it ends, unfortunately. And I feel really bad in the sense that they didn't do it, but that was a decision that was made, if not that by their own accord, then by some influence. Something that's higher power than me. And I think that, when you quit and you don't test for black belt, but you were there, I feel like at that point, that's the end for you. And I hate to say it like that, but it's really hard to rebound back from that. You know what I mean? Even I know people that were great martial artists that took the same classes, but never got there, unfortunately. They stopped at green belt or blue belt. Sometimes people stop at yellow belt and they just think, well, I pretty much got everything that I needed to get out of it. So here's my message to you guys. If you had quit and you were even, remotely close, like, you were one step away, come back. You know what I mean? Just come back. Same thing for like if you stopped at yellow belt or green belt, just come back, because number one, you left the mission undone. The mission's incomplete. And number 2, it's eating you on the inside knowing that you did not finish what you started. Because there's nothing like testing for a black belt and actually getting promoted to it, because that signifies and symbolizes that you finished something that you started. And that is a great feeling. It's an incredible feeling, and I just feel wonderful and excited, and I just feel like such a great relief knowing that for 3 times I've tested for a black belt, and every time that I've passed, I always felt like, an amazing person after that I finished what I started. And now being a 3rd degree black belt, I realize that the 4th degree black belt test is going to be happening maybe in 4 years' time. but I really got to be on it. I can't be complacent. I really got to be dedicated and focused, you know. And I know that everybody would want me to keep going because it's something that I love. And I feel like I could be one of the senior students that really helps get the art out, you know, especially from the school where we come from. But I'm going to go ahead and take a moment. We're going to take a 5-minute break or something like that. So we're going to take we're going to take 5. We're going to go ahead and cut it. We'll come right back, and we'll come back with a great Q&A session. You don't want to miss it, guys. So stay tuned, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience will be coming back. We'll check you out in a bit. Hey guys, I had to let you know that I just tried a sushi restaurant that's so amazing that it has a lot of locations in the Maryland state. Sushi Q. Their mission is to deliver an authentic taste of Japanese cuisine along with creative flair from the modern influences of sushi. It's their pleasure to serve you with the highest quality of food and excellent service at the best prices. They're proud of their unique and wonderful creative cuisine, which is created from the finest ingredients. They promise you the freshest seafood, meat, and produce. You just can't beat their taste, and you can't beat their quality, and you can't beat their food. For more locations, or if you want to go ahead and order online of their great cuisine and their great food, go to sushiqmd.com. That is sushiqmd.com. Sushi Q.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. We're still here in the Asian Sensation studio. I got to tell you, this episode today has been a very good one. And when you feel good and you feel like you're doing a lot of great things and you're being very conductive with your creativity and your flow, it just makes for a very good time. And you just feel at that point like everything is good and you feel like you're on cloud 9. So I feel really great just for the reason alone that I'm here. I made an episode. It was fun. Lots of things we were discussing. We were really, really doing it. It's not like we weren't busy. We were busy, and we love that. We love being busy. That just means that the creative process is flowing at the right direction, at the right rate, where it should be. And that's all I'm saying. Now, this is the part of the segment where we actually enter the Q&A forum, and I love this forum because we've been instituting this for quite a while. It just came up as maybe a funny idea, and then we were just like, hey, why not? Let's answer a few questions real quick. I think it would be good to, use the time wisely in this way. Not that we couldn't think of another third and final, subject matter that we could talk about. But this is kind of like our segue to kind of relax and have fun with this one. So, basically, if you guys wanted to actually participate, you can either send me a question through our Spotify account. If you just go through our Spotify, podcast page and click on any episode and send a question through the Q&A forum, like the interaction forum. And you can actually set it as a private message, so that way I can be able to read it and nobody else will know about it until, we actually ask the question, if we pick it out. You could also email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. We've got a couple of questions that way. And last but not least, you can go on social media on Twitter, aka X, at TKH Experience, all in one word, and you can tweet that question, and we've had some that done it that way. They even had private message us through Twitter, and that worked as well. So We got 7 questions. 7 questions picked at random. I'm really excited about this one. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do the Q&A without any further delay. Now, I got to give you some warnings. There's some questions out here in general that I might be very detailed about because I'm very either passionate about it or I know something about it. And then there's some that might be like, I'll try to get to the point, but usually I like to shoot my mouth off, so it's not uncommon knowledge that I love talking. So if you don't know that I love talking, then we might need to have a private discussion in a very good way, in a jovial way. So let me go ahead and shoot the first question here. The first question is, who do you think will make it in the NBA Finals this season for 2024? That's coming from John from Crofton, Maryland. I know Crofton, Maryland. It's off the 301. It's on the way to Annapolis, Maryland. I've been there a couple of times in my lifetime because I kind of grew up in the Annapolis area, specifically in Annapolis, Maryland. And Crofton was like a nice little neighbor, you know what I mean? So, yeah. John, to answer your question, buddy, I really think representing the West, I do think it's going to be the Denver Nuggets. They're the defending champions. They're heavily favorited. Nikola Jokic is just a beast, hands down. He's a beast and he's leading it. And it wouldn't shock me if they actually get it again. That's just my opinion. If you're asking me who will make it on the East side, it's between 2 teams right now, and I can't pick one, so I'm just going to say either it might be the Boston Celtics or it's going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. I know that's like a little bit of a bold prediction there, but those 2 teams are really playing pretty well right now. And now that Doc Rivers is the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, I really think that the new leadership is going to benefit them very well. And I think that, Doc will probably take them in a way that they will actually get that chip again, possibly. We'll see. So that was a good question. Appreciate it. And, love a sports question. Love me some sports. But so far in the NBA, I think everything's been going pretty well. Some teams have actually really shocked me. So, in a good way, like, wow, you're really doing well. And there are some teams that have shocked me in a bad way, like, man, you're really not doing well. So, and the other part is just like, well, I kind of expected you to be in this position, so I'm not really, concerned. Again, it is what it is. All right. Now we're going to question number 2. Why do you prefer Apple versus all the other technological hardware? This one comes from Carlos of Tarzana, California. Tarzana is a little bit outside of the Los Angeles area. And Carlos, I'm just going to say it like this. Let me answer in this manner. I don't have anything against PCs and people that have, Android phones like Samsung or LG or even the Google phones. Technology is technology, pal. And I think that we are lucky at this current day and age to have all the technological advances that we had. We've come a long way. The flip phone or the cellular phone game were the days where it was just like a flip phone and then the T-Mobile Sidekick. I mean, we've really radically advanced for sure. And the computer, oh my God, the computer's gotten smaller in size, but more radically advanced and more technologically sound. It's just been amazing. It's just for me, when I worked for the Apple Store for 2 years, I just kind of fell in love with it, and it made sense. And Apple computers, to me, are more for the people that are very creative. So if you're somebody that deals with, like for me, podcasting, if you're in the movie making business, the music making business, if you're into like, art, whether if it's like digital art or it's kind of like, designs and, architectural designs and so forth. I really think that Apple is the way to go. It's better. And I think that Apple's interface is easier to navigate. Plus, when I have like things like a MacBook Pro, I also have an Apple TV, I have an iPhone, and I have an iPad. It really integrates well with each other, and it reads each other very easily. So that, I think, is the reason why I prefer it. I love the Apple way, and I love their credo and everything else and their philosophy in life. It does not, once again, I'm saying it right now, it doesn't mean that the PC is not good and, an Android phone is not good. It's just, has a different purpose, and they're very good in those different purposes, like programming and, other type of situations that I can't really think of right now, but programming or, playing games and so forth, that's, I think that's the way to go there. But it just really depends on what you like and what you love. So if you yourself, Carlos, likes PCs and you like Android and so forth, God bless you. More power to you. I think that's great. But for me, I have always been a person for many years now that supports Apple. Now, I can't diss the fact that I started with a PC and I started with an Android phone. And I'll always be grateful, but I found something that works for me. So if it works for me, I can't really knock it, And if that works for you, we can't really knock it. So there you go. Question number 3. I saw online that you had a big serving of sushi that was plated on some kind of model wooden boat. Where was it and how much was it? Lacey from Las Vegas, Nevada. Lacey, you're not lying. I have posted that infamous picture many a times throughout my social media, whether if it's on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, now known as X. And yes, I have ordered that more than once. And yes, I did eat that thing all by myself. It probably cost me about $125, and it was over at one of my favorite sushi restaurants called Joss Cafe and Sushi Bar, over at 195 Main Street. And it is an incredible thing where, you order all the sushi, so much of it, that they need the biggest serving vessel that they can plate it on. And it's the boat. And I love it. I really love it a lot. I think it's great. In my prime, when I was younger, I probably could finish it all easily in one sitting, and that would be great. I don't think I can do that today. I really can't. I mean, times have changed, and I understand that, and I get that. You can't really do the things that you used to do when you were younger, and me eating a whole boat would be a little bit excessive, especially if I was trying to finish it all in one day. I mean, if I order a boat, chances are I probably would put half a dent now, maybe 3/4 at best, but I would still have a remaining leftover of sushi, so I would have to go ahead and take that home. But, I think it's great that, people have serving vessels like that. And, a boat for two is actually more doable. It really is. And, if you get a boat, it's amazing. It's awesome. The sushi boat is really cool, especially over in Joss Cafe Sushi Bar in Annapolis. They're an amazing restaurant. I love that place. Excellent sushi, and not even that, but also excellent varieties of Japanese food and Japanese food offerings that they serve in their restaurant. The atmosphere is great. Staff is wonderful. I love it. Love it a lot. Question number 4. Let's see. Is coming from my boy Quan of Long Island, New York, where he asks, if acting was not the career you wanted to pursue, what was your ideal career path? And Quan, that's a very good question. First off, I think that you're probably Vietnamese, because I have a cousin by the name of Quan. Unless you're Chinese, That's all I'm saying. I don't want to assume, but that's the two cultural backgrounds I'm thinking that you are. Regardless, if acting was not the career that I wanted to pursue, and I wanted another way, what would be my ideal career path would have been, I always wanted to be in the video gaming business, to create video games or work for them. You know what I mean? Like, way back in the day when I was like probably about 9 or 10, Nintendo was hot, and I always wanted to work for Nintendo. I wanted to be one of those guys that made video games and created video games for Nintendo. And I could have just imagined it, then, and I could even imagine it now, that if I was working for Nintendo, I would be living over in the Washington State, and my office would be something where, probably I would have a TV and a Nintendo, console with a whole bunch of games, and I would just be playing it, just testing the games out. And to say that I get paid for playing video games all day would definitely be an accurate statement. It would be cool. Or if I could work over in their marketing and promotional division, that would have been awesome. Because I love marketing and promoting. It's something that I do on the side, and it's great. It's really great. And I love just the idea of working for Nintendo back then. If I would have stuck with that idea, if I didn't have worked for Nintendo, I probably would have worked for Google. And they have such a great program, every time that you go there, the lunch that you get over at the Google headquarters in San Francisco, it's free, it's on them. Nobody bothers you when you're at work. They already have like a gym and a wellness center there. It's amazing. And they have things for like people that are suffering with anxiety. It's like a room there, or a building or a division, and that's great. They're very supportive. If you're putting in long hours, you can actually stay in their dormitories, and you stay there as long as you like until you're ready to go back to where you are, like where you live. So, I just think that I could have went that route as well, but I don't really know. I mean, I chose the route that I chose for a reason, because that's what I love. I love acting. I strongly believe that that's my career path and what I want to do, and I don't think that I'll ever stop until I get what I want, or if I can't do it anymore, like if I physically can't do it. So there it is. That's a good question, though. Question number 5. Kim, what are your thoughts on studying multiple martial arts styles at the same time? Marie from Alpharetta, Georgia. Marie, I think that's a really good idea to study multiple martial arts, because as a martial artist, I think it keeps you very open-minded, as an individual and as a martial artist. I think there's always room for a variety of arts, because then it's like, if you learn one style and learn another style, now whatever happens, you can, combine the best of both worlds, and it's a good thing. However, I would strongly suggest that, let's say, for example, you just got a black belt in Taekwondo, right? And you want to study another style, then I think that it would be okay. Because if you study two styles at the same time, where you have like no black belts in, then it's a little bit harder. You want to make it a little bit easier. So I would say do it that way, of earning a black belt at one art first, and then transition to another one if you want to study that as well at the same time. I have friends of mine that have studied Taekwondo and has transitioned over into Japanese karate, and they say that it's a little bit easier, because now it's like, although they have a focus in Taekwondo, learning let's say Japanese Shotokan karate is an easier transition, because they don't have to take both arts at the same time at the same rank level. You know what I mean? That's just too much going on. So, yeah, I'm definitely down for that. And if, again, if you can handle that kind of workload, if it doesn't seem to be an issue, then I would say, yeah, go for it. But I would only suggest it in that respect and in that way. So, just be careful. I don't see any harm, but you definitely can get overwhelmed if you just, overload too much, at least in my opinion. So, I know I definitely would, at least in my time frame right now, if I could learn another martial art, I'd be okay with it, because already being a third degree black belt in Muay Thai Taekwondo, I'm at a level now that, I'm okay to study more of what I currently know, but taking on a new challenge at the same time, it would be cool, and it would just be what it is, like a challenge. So, there it is. Question number 6. Oh, crap. Okay, here we go. I was afraid of this one. Will you ever have that English girl on your show again as your guest? That was a cool episode, or episodes, that she was on when you invited her as a guest on your show. Wow, I was kind of, let's see, that was from Kelly Renee of Boston, Massachusetts. And Kelly Renee, even though that was a very good question, I was kind of afraid to even address it if it ever came about. And I was hoping nobody would ask. But, as a professional, I definitely will answer it. And I got to say this. That person in question that you're talking about is Just Cara from TikTok. She is a TikTok personality that right now I think she is at like maybe 14,000 followers, and it's very strong. Her team and our team unfortunately had a falling out. It was just some things that were said and differences of opinion, and unfortunately that really caused a rift in our relationship where the relationship is no longer there. I want to state for the record that had nothing to do with Cara directly. And I would also like to state for the record that, I think that Cara is a very great person and is a very beautiful person. She wants to really work hard on her TikTok as, being a great personality and try to be number one. All that by, doing it her way and try to do it the best way possible that she can in terms of talking about, positivity and love, and talking about, mental health and awareness and things like that. You know what I mean? And instituting a couple of her personas that she uses on her TikTok. So, I have nothing against Cara directly. Matter of fact, I love Cara, and I think she's great. I really do. I'm just really saddened that we were not able to maintain a great working relationship and a relationship in general. So, but again, I hold that not on her. It's just that, with her team and our team, I think it's just best that if we actually stepped out of the limelight, just to keep the peace, because, we don't want any trouble. We don't want any ill will. We don't want none of that. We don't want any unnecessary drama and so forth. Her camp is going to be her camp, and her camp is going to be doing things that they want to do, and we're going to do things in our camp that we want to do, and that's just the bottom line. But I want to say, if Cara is listening to this, I want to say thank you for your friendship. It has meant a lot, and I really do appreciate it. And I have nothing negative to say when it comes to that, or I don't have anything negative to say about you as a person, because I think that, even still, you're a very beautiful person and you're a lovely person. I'm just sorry that, things kind of worked out the way that they did. And I will also say, if she wants to talk about it in private, where it's just her and her alone with me, I would welcome that, But, maybe we can work something out. Maybe she could be a guest on our show again in the future. We don't know, but until then, she will not be in our show as a guest for a while. And since then, we have actually unpublished a couple of episodes on our show that involved her directly, whether she was a guest or whether or not we actually did like a show where it was like an appreciation episode. We unpublished it. You know what I mean? We just felt like that was the thing to do. Whether or not, if it's a popular decision or not, that right there is irrelevant. But, for the integrity of the situation and for keeping the peace and separating ourselves from, of our camp from their camp, we unpublished it. So, I'm really sorry if you were looking for those episodes and wanted to hear it. But until things are resolved or a little bit better, or, they're in a workable situation, we here at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, within good faith and good integrity, that we just needed to do that. So to Kara, we just say best of luck to you and all your endeavors. We really do hope that you become number one and become the best at it. We do hope that, one day it will just be your full-time career. So, best of luck to you. And you heard it here that you will always have my love and support. For sure, Kara. So, thank you. Appreciate you. Last but not least, question number 7, which is, what is the best breakfast you ever ate? From Jody Lynn of Topeka, Kansas. And Jody Lynn, that's a very good question. There is a spot in Baltimore, Maryland, a great diner called the Blue Moon Cafe. And they are famous worldwide for their Captain Crunch infused French toast. Now think about it. These are thick slice challah bread slices, okay? So you got pieces of thick challah bread, 3 of them, dipped in like this custard, and then they're surrounded and encrusted with Captain Crunch French toast, or Captain Crunch cereal, to make the Captain Crunch toast. And it is amazing. Oh my gosh, as soon as that hits that buttery flat top and it hits the surface, it starts to, to crispen up and caramelize so beautifully. Like, GBD, golden brown and delicious. And then they flip it over and you get to see that caramelization. It is insane. Insane. So then when you have everything put together, you have 3 thick challah bread toast pieces of Captain Crunch French toast stacked up in 3s, like one on top of the other, served with, whipped cream, sliced Granny Smith apples, they're sliced super thin. You have blackberries, you have blueberries, you have strawberries, you have bananas, and all other types of fruit. Douse that up with confectioner sugar. Man, you got yourself a winning recipe. Like, it is awesome. And, you serve it on with hot maple syrup. And when you eat it, and it's so good that as soon as you pay your bill and you walk out the door, you're going to probably end up lying down on the sidewalk for 10 minutes because, that food coma is setting in because of that. I mean, it's comatose on a plate. It's just, wow. It's amazing. And I love it. I love it a lot. It's great. And, I hope to come back there and to eat one again in the future. And it's not going to happen now because I know I'm going to be busy for the months ahead. But, yeah, I hope that it will happen. And by that, that's the end of our Q&A forum. That is the end of our show. We've been having a great time here. It has been lovely. So let me go ahead and end this the way that we normally end it. Guys, you can actually go ahead and find us on Facebook. Just go under the search box and type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and it will be there for sure. Just add us, follow us. We really appreciate that. We're also on 2 social media platforms of Instagram and Twitter, formerly known as X. Follow me at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. You follow us, we'll follow you back. If you leave us a cool comment or a tweet or something, we will get you back. That's not a problem. We are on 5 podcasting platforms. One of them is actually a newest member of the podcasting platform family. We are on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and now the newly acquired YouTube Music. That's right. We are in the YouTube Music game, in the YouTube Music family. So like and subscribe to our podcast on all of those podcasting platforms. Do us a favor. If you actually listen to us on Spotify, give us a 5-star ranking. If you're on Apple Podcasts, also give us a 5-star ranking, but a positive written review. Because the more times that you do that for each of those podcasting platforms, then those platforms will actually take our podcast show and throw it to the front of the class. So people will see it and they might say, oh, wow, this is that podcast that Ari was talking about. Or this was that podcast that John was talking about while he was training, in his MMA classes and whatnot. And wow, they've been singing great reviews about it. Yeah, absolutely, they were. And you know what? It's definitely worth investigating at that point. Also, guys, spread the word about this, whether if you want to do it face-to-face, with the person in real life, or if you want to go ahead and spread it out on social media. I mean, we got, Facebook, we got, Instagram, we got Twitter, now known as X, we got TikTok, what's that other one? Snapchat, we got Snapchat. So just let people know about us through that way and through those channels. It's called, developing brand awareness. When you, talk about the brand and you put it in their faces, they're now made well aware of the situation. So, it's good. It's good. Last but not least, if you want to be a special guest host, if you got a question for a Q&A forum, or if you have any constructive criticism, let us know. Just go ahead and email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. The subject matter, whatever on the subject box, you put it in the subject box. And then in the body of the email, you just write it up and then hit that send button. Once we get it, we'll read it. And we'll come back to you within 24 hours because we love reading our emails. And I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. But guys, this is the end of the show. We really want to thank you guys for your time and for your support. As always, we want you to be safe because it doesn't do us any good at all if you actually do something harmful to yourself and you end up passing away and being in a pine box and getting buried 6 feet under. We don't want you to do that. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy. We want you to be loving life. We want you to appreciate life. And we want you to go for yours because you deserve that. You really do. Anyone else that tells you that you don't deserve anything good in life whatsoever is a damn fool. Like literally, they are a damn fool. And I just don't like that and I don't appreciate it because you're dragging people down rather than uplifting them. And that's really a messed up situation. You guys deserve the best. You guys deserve happiness. You guys deserve success. You really do. And, I believe in it and I think you should too. So, guys, just remember, if you guys need anything, I'm always going to be there for you. Whenever you're actually listening to our podcast show, we want you to know that you're in a safe zone and in a safe place. We want to make you feel like you're included rather than excluded because when we include you, we want you to be a part of our family. When you're excluded, that's like a sign of division, and we don't want to divide. We want to unite. So that's my thing. But that's all I got for today. I'm really happy to be here as always. And as always, like I say, if you guys still want me to do this and you still want me to keep going, I am going to keep going no matter what. And I will never stop until, I get to where I want to. We still got a lot of year in this 2024 year. We still got a lot of days ahead of it. Season 3, it's still happening. It's still young. It's still going strong. And I love it. It's amazing. It's really great. So, for the one time, coming all the way from the Asian Sensation Studios in the greater Washington DC Metropolitan Area, this is your boy Kim Hoang saying, thank you guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And we're going to do it again real soon. Y'all take care, all right?